In a world of Johnnies, Timmies, and Spikes, we must all arrive at the win condition.
For lore, news, brews, and weather reports for Fresno and the Bay Area. Good to know that Wizards have their own hazmat precautionary measures.
You should breathe, you know?
But wait, there's more. Hello again, and welcome back to the Win Condition Podcast, your source for lore, news, and brews in the Magic the Gathering community. My name is Sean. I'm your host. I'm joined by my co-host, Greg. How's it going, Greg?
Doing well today.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, we actually have quite a bit to talk about today, despite the general lack of breaking news, but we'll scrounge up some stuff here and there to bring to you on the Win Condition Podcast. But not before we remind you all that our wonderful sponsor, Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com, will give you a 10% discount on any order over $10 if you use that promo code Win Condition in all caps. To buy yourself singles, sealed product when you got that Dominaria coming up, get excited. And any use of our promo code will help fund our future show giveaways. So, Greg, we continue along the line of the Dominaria story. What is going on?
Oh, you know, the Weatherlight is being reconstructed. Liliana and Gideon are on their way to Benalia City. I think that about sums most of what's going on. We know Johnny's now with the Weatherlight and Joyra, and they're all happy-go-lucky crew.
Mm-hmm. And that's Lore Corner. Thanks for joining us. No.
But
right.
To get more in depth about this,
let's head on into Lore Corner. To be official.
You knew exactly. Yes.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Where we talk story. So, last time we left you guys, we were Johnny had showed up to Joyra. We had a brief intermission where we talked Tiana and Arvad and the encounter of what happened and how they became such good friends.
Yes. So
Johnny and Joyra are like, well, I assume you want me to help the planeswalkers you told me about, to a Johnny. And he's like, well, yeah. How about you show me a little of the ship? And everybody was finished. I mean, the ship was finished at this point now. So everything
and it was kind of funny because all Joyra wanted to do was walk around the ship and appreciate the craftsmanship, as the ship's captain. And then here comes a Johnny, and it's almost like, oh boy, okay, here's something else to take away my attention from all this greatness that we've just built. So,
yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, like he was saying, she just wanted to see the ship, and he's like, nope, we got to go take care of things. We need to go do stuff. But before we go do stuff, I need to tell you information that I know about. Did you know that Karn is here on Dominaria? What? And, of course, Joyra's like, no, I wasn't. Are you certain? The shock and rush of relief made her heart pound. Of course, Johnny's like, well, yeah. Her mechanical owl came to her, sensing that she was in distress. She shoos it off to continue looking around the Weatherlight, because she's just excited.
Yeah.
And Johnny's kind of distant.
Well, Johnny also says, after he follows up the talk about Karn, he goes, well, and he kind of switches his mood, and he says, you knew Venser too, right? And Joyra was like, oh yeah, she knew Venser back when he was merely Raph's age. I mean, they go way back. They were friends. And Ajani informs her, well, he gave his spark to save Karn. And Joyra wasn't really too surprised. She was like, that sounds like something Venser would do. But she is very sad at the loss of Venser. but definitely optimistic at the news that Karn is still out and about.
Yeah. So after this, the first thought is that she has to find Karn. Karn is her friend, and
Right.
they both will share in the grief for Venser because they both cared about him. And her next question is, in Phyrexia? Johnny responds with, an entire plane has fallen to them, but they've been contained there. No other plane should be in any danger. Joyer wanted to ask more, but she heard Tiana call. The Weatherlight was ready.
Yes.
Yeah. So she rends her hands over the navigation console, grounding herself, and says, thank you for bringing me this news. It can't have been an easy burden. Let's fetch your friends, shall we? Johnny
Yes.
nods, obviously recognizing the hollowness of her smile and her desire for privacy. They leave.
A little bit of inner struggle here for Joyra. Some happiness, some sadness, and the need to press on with her mission. So we then jump over to the gates of Benalia City, which are quite impressive. And we see
Stained glass and all.
Right? And we have this procession of Gideon, Liliana, and the angelic forces led by Lyra Dawnbringer as they're approaching Benalia City. But when they get close, Lyra mentions, you, necromancer, referring to Liliana, obviously, you are not allowed in Benalia. You know, you're too dark, too evil. And she goes, what are you talking about? This is great, in her usual snarky sense. And Gideon's like, oh, this is the last thing we need is another argument to delay the mission. So Rael comes and actually vouches for Liliana based on the encounter back in Calico and says, yo, Rhea, she's cool. And Rhea's like, okay, well, I guess I'll take your word for it. Come on.
You mean Lyra?
I'm sorry. Yes. Lyra says, okay, I guess you're cool. Come on. So the plan can continue as normal. So, there's some banter back and forth as they're moving in. But ultimately, Gideon says, all right, we need to find a place that is way up high in the air. Can you, as they enter into the city, they start asking, hey, do you have any places we can go that are, up there? And Tiago, one of the helpers, says, I think I can help with that. I wonder why they want to get into a tower.
I don't know. Any number of reasons. Maybe they want to rain fire and death magic over Benalia.
Maybe they want to build a drop zone ride in Benalia City. I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
All right, so they continue through the city, and as they get escorted up this tower, Gideon and Liliana continue talking about the experience in Caligo. And Gideon is still thinking Liliana might not know that I heard the back and forth between her and Josu, and Liliana is visibly shaken. She's not necessarily, she's on pins and needles. Like, she's just ready to snap at a moment's notice. So as they, are atop this tower, they're like, wonder why he said to meet us in a tower. And then they look off into the distance and they see something coming. They see at first what looks to be a mechanical owl flying through the air, and it lands perched next to them. And Liliana commented, that's some very complex mage work, referring to the owl. And it's definitely quite a marvel, but not quite as big as what they then see. They see the skyship Weatherlight begin to descend right next to them while they are atop the tower. So I guess they were told to meet in midair to kind of avoid a scene, but you got this big airship coming down to pick you up. I mean, that's
they did not avoid a scene.
No, that's quite an entrance.
Yeah, they didn't avoid anything there. So as this happens, the argument started as soon as they got on the Weatherlight. Johnny barely gave them time to meet Captain Joyer, Shauna Sisse, and Raf Caption before he asked Gideon, where are the others? Why aren't they with you? Forcing Gideon to launch into a long and awkward explanation. Liliana there gritting her teeth, having issues with everything that happened in Caligo and the House of S, and she just couldn't. She was just angry, and she wanted to let it all out. And she couldn't figure out what the void was. Johnny said sorrowfully, I was afraid of this. I don't know how we could defeat Nicobolus now. You should not have gone to Amonkhet. Liliana could not take any more. The chain veil was like a weight on her side. And she just lays into a Johnny, saying, you might stop moaning at us long enough to listen to our plan, or let us sit down. Gideon is still recovering for being wounded, you know, and not that you care, but I'm not feeling well either. The young mage Raph is trying to interject, but yeah, he can't really do much. Johnny turned his regretful gaze on her. I know most of this is because of you, Necromancer. You and your demons. Liliana, stop, Gideon interrupted. Johnny, this was my decision, and I accept the consequences. Johnny turns back to Gideon, exasperated. Accepting the consequences is admirable, but the damage has been done, and Amonkhet is beyond repair. So what shall we do now? Liliana is, we need to kill Belzenlock so I can have my full power. That isn't what I meant. You didn't see what happened to Caligo. Everything I knew, destroyed, turned to mud and rot. We have to stop. We have to... She then realized that she said too much, exposing herself. I need to be free of my pact before I can fight your battles for you. Johnny, it's just that simple. So with this, Johnny's like, I need to get more planeswalkers. You could do as you need to here. And Gideon's like, we'll join you when we can to fight Bolus. With that, Johnny planeswalks out, and Gideon and Liliana are able to get to know the rest of the crew. And they all kind of talk about what they're doing here, what they all want to do. And they come to find out Liliana had no clue of this. All of them, every single one of them has a reason to fight the Cabal and deal with Belzenlock.
Yep.
So she literally found the best group of people to follow into. They all want to take out Belzenlock. And, you know, Gideon always the optimist. Maybe we could get Chandra back if we can find her.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know, right? But first we need information. I've been watching the Stronghold for years, is what Joyer is talking about here. And that it's always changing based on his whim. Liliana, of course, is kind of defeated about this because without the information, it'll be much harder to get into the lair. Right. And then Raph speaks up and says, well, you know, there's been talk at the academy that there's been a Cabal cultist spy. And Joyer's like, you know what? That might be exactly the point we need to go to.
So it looks like their travels will take them to Talaria West, because if they were to look in, oh my gosh, what is it? Is it Benalia?
Benalia.
City? Yeah, if they were to look in Benalia, New Benalia, the Angels are doing an excellent job of actually keeping it very clean of Cabal, so they do have to do some looking. But yes, Talaria West seems like a very good option.
Yeah.
So barely half the day later, they were approaching Talaria West. This Weatherlight is definitely kicking it into high gear for them. And we are about to see a reunion of two old friends. So as they're approaching, they arrive in Talaria West, and they're greeted by two people, an older man and a deceptively younger looking man. And it turns out the younger man is none other than Joda. And we learn here that Joyra and Joda used to be lovers, and they have a long history, an extremely long history, if you will. They're both basically immortal, and they've been around pretty much longer than anyone else they're hanging around right now. So that kind of adds another wrinkle into the whole drama of the situation. So, and it's funny because Liliana says, ex-lovers are more trouble than they're worth. Liliana agreed. They disappear and don't tell you where they're going and ruin all your plans. Gideon, who she hadn't realized was in earshot, said, I'm sure that's not what happened. Jace would never. It's none of your business, Liliana snapped, cutting him off. So it's it's kind of funny to see Liliana referencing her ex-lover, who is currently getting his stuff together on Ixalan before he heads out. But anyway, we press on.
I mean, he's kind of getting his stuff together. It's more like he's saying, "Screw you, Liliana. I think I'm done."
Oh, yeah, he definitely has that revelation, as we found in the story for Ixalan in his intrepid adventures with Vraska. But anyway, back to Teleria West. So they left Tiana and Arvad on the deck to guard the Weatherlight as they start, walking around being shown about by Joda and...
Hey, do you think there might be a blossoming relationship between Tiana and Arvad?
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Angel and a vampire?
Wow, the implications. Oh my goodness.
Anyhow.
So, remind me one more time, who was with Joda when they arrived? It was the...
Dean of Iteration, also known as Naban.
That's it.
And a couple other high dignitaries from the school.
Right. So, once they arrive, they quickly hear about a situation involving some dead bodies at Teleria West. And so they go in to investigate, and there's 9 bodies that they found in a laboratory area. And, there's thoughts bounced back and forth. It definitely looks like the Cabal has been here, but this is quite a large undertaking. They're usually very subtle. So where do they go from here, Greg?
So at this point, they ask Liliana to use her particular special skill set to reanimate the corpses and ask them what they saw. So she does this with each and every single one of them, but she doesn't get much. As a matter of fact, it's kind of painful to be there because all they know is dementia magic, essentially. They all have issues from the past. So they're all there in this laboratory, and they start talking about the laboratory itself. And one of the things they say is that this is their hazardous magical containment facility. That's not quoted, but essentially that's what it is. Anytime they get materials that are possibly destructive or a problem, they bring them here.
It's good to know that wizards have their own hazmat precautionary measures.
Right? So they figured they'd bring them all here. And they're like, well, the only thing that I can think of that they'd be interested that's ages old, as Joda says, is towards the top of the tower. So they all start making their way up there, conversing about everything, and Gideon touches on something where he's asking how many came in to bring the bodies. I mean, that's a lot of bodies. It couldn't have just been a couple of people that you could control. And it dawns on them. What if one of the people that brought the body in was the spy? Ooh. This dawns only as they get to the top of the tower to the box that Joda was thinking had the thing. The thing was gone.
But we know we're right, Joyra says.
Exactly. So they get up to the top of the tower. There's a student up there, and he's looking through the books. And Joda says coldly that you're not one of the students assigned here. I'm sorry, I came here to help carry the bodies. And then I started looking at these texts, and, well, I just forgot myself. I've never been in this tower before. And then Gideon's like, well, I mean, if I were a Cabal agent, this is exactly the way I'd want to appear. Joda, of course, was unconvinced. Joyer watched Thom, which is what his name was, like a hawk, and asks him what he has in his hand. It's an artificer's device. Thom's expressions turned serious. Yes, I found it on the floor where the others were killed. I meant to tell the healers, but... A dark globe of death magic appears in the air and shoots across the room toward Joda. Joyer moves so fast as if she had teleported. Bum ba bum. Suddenly in front of Joda, she flicked her fingers at the approaching globe and dissipates it. Fragments bounce back toward Thom.
We kind of get to see everybody utilize their superpowers here, so to speak, because you have Liliana, quicker than almost any of them, lobbing bolts of purple magic at Thom. And we even see Shauna Sisse jumping through this cloud of death spell being cast, and she's of course immune, as we learned last time. So, and then Joda reaches out with his hand and essentially immobilizes this student slash spy. So it's kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they're all really powerful. We get it, and they're all working together as a team, which is really, really cool to see because they're all so powerful.
Yeah. It's a great scene. And at this moment, they are able to defeat Thom. He is not dead because Joda uses a spell to render him immobile.
Mm-hmm.
So they take him away. At this moment, Gideon steps back to Liliana, and it looks like she got hit with the full force of one of those spells. And Gideon asks her if she's okay. I saw something hit you. Gideon hesitated on the next question after she brushed it off. You saw Josu, didn't you? And she's like, the cleric should have chosen something else. I see Josu all the time now. It's not a sign of weakness, so if you tell anyone, yes, I know. Tear me limb from limb, unspeakable torments, and so on. Let's see what this Cabal agent has to say.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to see their interaction because it's starting to get to the point where Gideon's like, yes, I understand that you're a hideous, horrible person and you want everybody to hate you, but guess what? I don't care.
Right. Yep. Yep, definitely. Their relationship is definitely on a roller coaster ride right now. So,
what if he becomes a new ex? I don't know.
Ooh, well, there's definitely speculation circling Gideon in the events to follow, but let's press on here.
Pushing on through.
Yes. So we have they're gathering together, trying to figure out how exactly to extract the information from this newly captured Cabal spy, and frankly, why they don't just kind of kill him and have Liliana resurrect him and do that again, I don't know, but they're trying to do some variation here. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, actually before that, we see a quick interaction between Joda and Jwara, and Joda's like, so you're helping out these planeswalkers now, huh? And Jwara's like, yeah, we have a common goal. And he's like, are you sure they're not taking advantage of you? And you could tell, based on their history, her feelings for him. She even says nobody can make her that mad that fast. So you could definitely tell there's still sparks flying between them. But
sometimes literally.
Literally, yeah. So ultimately, Raph pipes up and says, I have a spell that might help, but I'm not supposed to have it. And then Naban is just glaring at him, basically saying, you do not have permission to use this spell. This is wrong. And he's like, what? I just kind of looked in one of the books while we were here, and I learned it, and I'm really good, and I can do it. And so they look at him, and they're like, well, Joyra says, can you actually do it? And he goes, I can try. She goes, then try. And Joda's like, well, I can't stop you. Kind of both to him with his spell as well as to Joyra with her full intent of her mission. Kind of multi-layer comment there. And then Liliana pipes up, ooh, he disapproves. So, yeah, it's definitely quite funny. So why don't you round us out here, Greg?
So after that, they climb up the stairs to the top tower where the Weatherlight was docked. We got our agent, Shauna told her, as Tiana was asking, and the information we need. Good. Arvod's making dinner. Liliana's mouth quirked. The vampires making dinner? She says, Gideon. He starts to laugh. It had been a long and trying day, but now at least they had what they needed to make a plan. As Arvod prepared a meal for them, they all sat down and they ate. And then there's something of interest that was pulled out. An unfamiliar name, the Black Blade. Yes, what's that? This is Gideon. It's a famous magical weapon. It killed an elder dragon. Which one? Gideon asked. Piru, I think. Never heard of him. Exactly, Shauna said. Liliana tugged the page away from him to read over it. So this Black Blade would kill Belzenlock. Easily, Joyra says. It's a soul drinker, though. Death magic steals the life energy of everyone it kills. Liliana, of course, was intrigued. A soul drinker being the perfect thing for killing a demon like Belzenlock.
It sure
Especially
would.
if it's already absorbed the life force of an elder dragon. It should be more than powerful enough to do the job. Gideon, of course, was not surprised that she wanted to use it. But he wanted nothing to do with it. A soul drinker is not something we would want to use under any circumstances. Liliana rolls her eyes and ignores him. It's also locked up in the stronghold. So before we decide if we want to use it or not, we need a way to get inside. Well, if we could turn all the cultists and clerics to stones, it would be easy. I was thinking about turning people to stone earlier. Raph grinned at her. What, like by stopping time? If only we could. Joyra then smiles. It's just she had a secret she was ready to share. We can't, but I know just the time mage who can.
Ooh, my gosh. Okay, so there's just a couple options of who she could be going for. One's a little more likely than the other, but we know of 2 time mages / planeswalkers. Who could we be thinking of, Greg?
Well, I'm pretty sure she's thinking of Teferi since, Urza's dead.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And the fact that she doesn't know where the other time traveling planeswalker that she knows of is, that would be Karn, of course.
Yes. But I thought he always time traveled with other devices. It wasn't himself that did it.
True. Urza was the one who sent him through time. That is true.
Yeah.
But this means that we are so close, so very close to seeing Teferi return to the storyline, and I am so excited.
It's very exciting. Now, with this, we're recording this on a Friday now. Full spoiler was on Thursday.
Yup.
So we got all of our cards. So we wanted to talk a little about that before we get into our news segment here while we're in story.
Yeah, so we have 4 story cards for your enjoyment. The first one pretty much it's the only time we're ever going to see this person in here because she has since fled the plane to guard her own. Our first story card is Broken Bond. For 1 and a green, it's a sorcery that says destroy target artifact or enchantment. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So, being story spotlight 1 of 4, we see Nissa about to planeswalk away from Dominaria after her little squabble with Liliana. And, they just got viciously beat down on Amonkhet, barely escaped, and she's like, okay, I got to go back to my plane and protect it. Y'all figure out what you're going to do here. All that being said, this card is extremely powerful. You have the ability to destroy, an artifact or enchantment, and with the Saga cards and with Kaladesh still legal, this is going to be a very, very powerful, possibly even turn 2 play. Plus, you're going to be able to throw a 3rd land from your hand down, giving you 3 mana on turn 2. That's very strong. I really think
it really is.
Yeah, I really think that this card's going to see quite a bit of standard play moving forward.
I agree completely. Even though it is a sorcery, giving you that explore option there is just so much stronger.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, Greg, where will we look to find our second story card?
Story card 2 is in black. It is called Final Partings, 3 generic double black sorcery. Allows you to search your library for 2 cards, put 1 into your hand and the other into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. The flavor text on this says, "Sleep now, brother. That is the one gift I can give you." And this is the scene where we see her using the chain veil to finish off Josu and relieve him of his mortal bonds.
Right. And what birds are those flying around Liliana as she's doing this?
Oh, they're ravens.
The Raven Man. One day we will learn who this Raven Man actually is.
Urza's essence.
You think it's Urza's essence?
It could be.
Interesting. It really could be. That could make for a very interesting plot twist here, but I'm sure it'll be a while before we find all that out.
All right, so what's
officially.
our next
So
lore
next, card 3 of 4 here, we have Settle the Score. For 2 black, you get a sorcery that says exile target creature. Put 2 loyalty counters on a planeswalker you control.
card?
The flavor text, you bound me with a contract only your death could end. And you thought me the fool, says Liliana Vess. So here we see her defeating Bells and Lock, ultimately relieving herself of her contractual obligation. Now, what's to follow after that, we have yet to see, but let's just take a look at this card here real quick. This is a 4-drop, and if played on turn 4 following a 3-drop planeswalker like, I don't know, Liliana of the
Liliana,
Veil,
the Last Hope?
either one, yeah, this brings you so close to hitting an ultimate very soon after you're actually casting the planeswalker.
Yeah.
Not to mention you're creating a resiliency that your opponent cannot ignore. They will have to turn their attention towards your planeswalkers en masse instead of just picking away at it, because that ultimate of Liliana, the Last Hope, and Liliana of the Veil is just backbreaking.
It
So,
really is.
there are a few other 3-drop planeswalkers, and this will definitely be
Dak
effective for
Faden?
them. Dak Faden, sure. Ashiok. But yeah, this card is very, very good. And I know it's a sorcery, and we are living in a world of Vraska's Contempts, which hits creatures and planeswalkers and exiles them. So it's really going to have a very specific deck for it to really flourish. But I think it's going to get to see some play. It's very strong.
Yes. So, our next card is what will be the conclusion of the Dominaria story, I Can Only Surmass.
I think
So
this
we're
caught a lot of
looking around
people
like Store 12.
by surprise, yeah.
I don't know. Based on the story that we got in Amonkhet, I had a feeling that she was going to go. But before I just kill you with the suspense, this card's name is In Bolus's Clutches. It is a 4 generic blue legendary enchantment aura. Enchant a permanent. You control enchanted permanent. Enchanted permanent is legendary. Yes, this allows you to take anything. Darksteel Forge, yours.
Yep.
Planar Bridge, mine.
Yep.
I'll
How
take
about that? How about that flavor text?
So, the flavor text says, your contract is in default. You belong to me now. Serve or die. Nicol Bolas.
Oh my gosh.
So, if you guys remember going way, way back in the story, the original packs that were done was created and built solely because of Nicol Bolas. We didn't know that there was a part of the contract where she would have to be dealing with him, but I had a feeling when we saw them together on Amonkhet that this was going to happen.
Yeah, you want to talk about roller coaster relationships. This is definitely one that's been twisted, for quite some time now. And if somehow we find out later that Liliana is somehow in cahoots with Nicol Bolas about all of this, then that is just going to be absolutely backbreaking for the lore and story to follow, because Liliana is an extremely powerful planeswalker. She has the Chain Veil. She might be one of the most powerful planeswalkers in the Gatewatch. And now if she's in Bolas's clutches, that can only spell more doom and gloom for the good guys and any other plane in existence, really. So those are the story cards.
Well, one more. There's one more card that's been causing a little bit of buzz.
Okay.
And that is the Blackblade Reforge. Now, we've already talked about this card because it's interesting that it has 2 equip costs. But this has a different flavor text on it, and this is why people are talking about it. It says, it spilled the blood of one Elder Dragon. In Gideon's hands, it may yet taste another.
Ooh. So
I have
Gideon
a
getting
feeling
his hands on this one, that could spell trouble.
So my speculation is that Gideon is going to be betrayed by Liliana, feel hurt, become greedy, and he wants to take out Liliana and Nicol Bolas.
Oh my gosh. Do you think that Gideon could possibly get corrupted by the sword's influence?
I mean, Korlash did.
Do you think
Why can't Gideon?
Do you think it's possible we may see an Orzhov Gideon Planeswalker?
Or even Mardu.
Or even Mardu, true. He has been Boros in the past. But yeah, this card, aside from being extremely powerful, has severe implications in the story. I just learned that upon its actual forging, Dakin Blackblade was tempering the sword, and then in order to finish the production, you usually have to dip the sword in water to solidify it. Well, Dakin Blackblade wanted to use blood, and so his own blood was not enough. He actually ended up stabbing his own son to complete forging this sword, which is absolutely insane, and it's the implications and the power level of this sword are just staggering. So it in and of itself as a character in the story, this sword is very compelling, and I can't wait to see what actually happens.
Yeah, no, all this, it's just exciting.
It's so good.
Anyhow, with that being said,
yes, we have a few news and announcements to talk about. So let's close the book on Lore Corner and head into As Foretold. So, Greg, let's say you like playing this new MTG Arena closed beta or open beta. I don't even know what it's called now, but you're allowed to stream. So
we'll just call it the Arena beta.
The Arena beta. Thank you. So there's now been an announcement that Wizards has made as incentive for MTG Arena streamers. Do you want to kind of walk us through that, Greg?
Well, the basis of this, I mean, I was just walking the mothership today and saw this. So the idea is that if you're a content creator like ourselves or anybody else there that is a podcaster or streamer, you can apply for this and gain access to having Arena. Not to mention that you'd be able to play this. They want you to do 4 hours of streaming like a week or an uploaded episode every week.
Right.
Which isn't bad. It's pretty simple and easy to do. In doing this, you gain exclusive content. Exclusive content for your followers. And the ability to be a part of the Wizards creative team, essentially. Because you are creating creative content for other people.
Right. So.
And it's just that's just kind of cool.
It is. I mean, it really shows that Wizards is reaching out to its community of content creators, because there's so many people out there like you and me, Greg, who just love this game so much that they need a creative outlet, and whether it's on YouTube or whether it's through podcasting or whether it's through streaming MTG Arena or even MTGO still.
You forgot one.
What's that?
Playing in events.
Playing in events, absolutely. But mainly if you can create content and upload it, and there are plenty of people out there who want to consume it because they love hearing and talking about this wonderful game that we play all the time. So, just to kind of reiterate what you were saying, I'll go through these specific bullet points to tell if you are eligible for this exclusive content. You need concurrent viewership of 50+ viewers on a live streaming service or video views of 1,000+ on a video hosting service like YouTube. Regular MTG Arena content schedule of at least 4 hours streaming or one uploaded video per week. So 4 hours a week, that's not too much. No. Content that conforms to our code of conduct and the Wizards Creator Program terms of service. So, probably no very few, if any, bad words. Don't talk trash on other people. Just, be a decent human being. And then be a resident of the United States or Canada for reasons, I'm sure. But if you meet all these criteria, you might be eligible for some additional content provided by Wizards. That is super exciting, especially for budding content creators out there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm taking a moment. I'm looking through Star City Games price list for Dominaria.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the price on Damping Sphere?
The uncommon?
The uncommon.
No. How much
Do you want to venture a guess on this price?
Okay, so based on your reaction, I have not looked at it yet, so I'm just going to try to ballpark it here. Dampening Sphere sounds like it's going to be a $15 card.
Maybe not that high. Do you remember what it does, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's been talked about quite a bit. Do you want to refresh us? Because I don't know if we've actually talked about it on this podcast.
I don't think we have. And there's two cards I'm surprised about here.
Okay.
So first one is Damping Sphere, 2 generic artifact. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces colorless instead of any other type and amount. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has cast this turn. A Thran relic, it has spent 10,000 years doing absolutely nothing. It is a Damping Sphere. So, a non-foil uncommon at release is $5.
$5. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of
$5.
maybe the foil could reach $15, but still, yeah.
25 for the foil.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's more along the lines of what I was thinking, but I mean, the fact that it's that expensive out the gate at pre-release, it's going to be opened, but people are going to want this immediately across
It really
all
will be
formats.
that good. I mean, this card actually shuts down things like Eldrazi Temple and Tron.
Yes. Yep. It does so much for so little, and at the uncommon level in the newest set coming out, this is probably going to be one of the most talked about cards for quite some time.
The other card that I see here that's really got an interesting price is Cast Down.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is a 1 generic, 1 black instant that says destroy target non-legendary permanent.
All right, now hit me with the price.
So non-foils are $3,
Oh my gosh.
whereas the foils are 10.
Oh,
But to see an
man.
uncommon out of the gate at more than $1 for a non-foil, this set's got a lot of just everything.
This set's value is already through the roof. I mean, I know when I pre-ordered my boxes, they were giving deals on, cheaper than normal, especially if you signed up for pre-release events as well. And all that being said, and especially if this is going across the board for other shops doing this, because this is with the exclusive buy a box promo card, this is Wizards saying, here you go, LGSs, we're going to make it easier for you to sell boxes. That in conjunction with them lowering the price on this specific product, I mean, because everybody's so excited, there's so much hype, combined with the fact that there is such a thick and deep layer of value at the uncommon level with all these legendary creatures, potential commanders, brawl commanders. I honestly think that this set is just going to blow the value curve out of the water, especially because there's no masterpieces, there's no full art lands, there's nothing that's going to detract the value from these cards. And yes, you're going to have some mythics that are absolutely nuts, but look at all these uncommons we get. I can't even tell you.
There's so many dollar cards there.
Exactly. I mean,
and $1.50, $2 for Song of Freyalise.
Yeah.
This is definitely exciting.
I mean, if you go to your LGS and you just want to buy 3 packs, I know a couple places around my house do 3 for $10. You buy 3 packs, just $10. You're going to get that value back immediately, especially when this stuff is first opened, because everybody's going to want these cards. They're going to want to start brewing. They're going to want to finish collections. They're going to want to trade with other people. The market is going to be on fire for a good amount of time after Dominaria releases.
Yeah.
So Wow, this is exciting. I haven't been this excited for a new set to come out like ever, I don't think. So, oy. By the way, just as
You should breathe, you know?
I know, right? Have you heard the price of the Shivan Dragon from the revised set?
From revised.
Keep in
so
mind,
not alpha, not beta, revised.
This card.
That's white border.
This card was
I'm gonna say
pennies.
$350.
Okay. Well, if you have any revised Shivan Dragons, you can sell them for around $20 right now. Now, keep in mind, the M sets, like M11, M12, whatever sets, those are still worth virtually nothing. But with the popularity of the old school format, it may be 17, closer to 17, I'm not sure. But with the popularity of the old school format, and just the nostalgia factor, because that Melissa Benson art is so iconic, and it might be my favorite art in any Magic card ever, just because that was what I saw that pulled me into this game. But just knowing that card, that specific card from Revised, has spiked out of control recently, that's crazy.
16.
$16. There you go.
Now, how about that unlimited?
How much is the unlimited? I haven't looked that one up.
82.
Oh my gosh, this is a Shivan Dragon, people. A Shivan Dragon.
There is, I think, one person listing an alpha on TCG Player, and that is at $1,300.
Nostalgia, people. This is pure nostalgia and collectors taking over. Like, I can't even begin to. It brings me back to my childhood, just like this Dominaria set is. So,
wow.
Well, actually, this kind of is going to transition us into our last segment. With the release of Dominaria, as we said, we have a lot of legendary creatures coming out. So, I, of course, was thinking to myself, I like to try to play a little game with myself and speculate, not necessarily buy these cards. I mean, I'd love to. But I was just thinking to myself, what's a card that could really, really benefit with this new sort of focus around legendary creatures? So before I reveal that to you, let us head on over into the Brewmaster's Lair.
No. I think it's time for a coffee.
I think it is time for a coffee. Hang on. That's my coffee noise. So, is that grinding or percolating or pouring? No, anyway. So, specifically, I'll cut to the chase. There's a card from a set that many regard as one of the worst sets printed in recent time. That set being Born of the Gods. That card being Hero's Podium. So, Hero's Podium is a 5-drop artifact that says all legendary creatures you control get +1/+1 for each other legendary creature you control. So, long story short, you control 4 legendary creatures. They each get +3/+3. That's pretty cool enough, right? But wait, there's more.
There's more?
If you tap X and tap Hero's Podium, you can look at the top X cards of your library, reveal a legendary creature from among them, and put it in your hand. Put the other cards in the bottom in any order. I mean, there has never been a time where this card it seems more fitting for this card to see play. Now, I'm going to take you back about 4 weeks. I was thinking about this card, and I was thinking about foils of this card. They were probably around, I don't know, $1.50, maybe $2, and you could buy them anywhere. You could buy them at Card Kingdom. You could buy them at Flipside Gaming. You could buy them on, TCG Player. And I was thinking to myself, well, I'll wait and see because I would like to have a foil one of these, And 2 days ago, I go online, and the supply is all but dried up. You can't find a foil Heroes Podium anywhere. And I'd like to say I told you so, but I didn't even buy any. So I feel kind of bad. But I just wanted to take this moment, Greg. We're going to take this segment and educate people on some cards that we know and are somewhat familiar with that you all might like to look at. I mean, some of these are going to be pricier than others, but with the introduction of these legendary creatures in Dominaria, everybody deserves to know what's out there, and those who have the means can get their hands on cards to make their commander decks that more powerful, because you can't use a lot of these cards in Brawl. All right, here you go. Go ahead, Greg.
I got one card that I want to start with. This is actually from the new set. And then I want to try something where you're going to name off the card, and I'm going to try to name off what it does.
Okay, yes. I like this game.
Okay. So the first card that I wanted to talk about from Dominaria is Thran Temporal Gateway.
Ooh, I like it. All right.
Yeah.
You want me
so
to
what
guess?
it does is I'm going to just tell this one. That one's it's a 4-drop artifact, legendary artifact, tap 4, tap it, put a historic card from your hand into play. And then the flavor text talks of this doesn't open a door to the past. It's where the past can come to the future. So you can't walk through it one way, but the other way can come in.
Ooh.
So I don't know if this is going to become a story point, because something that strong could bring Urza from the past to the future.
Oh my gosh. And you were talking about the Raven Man and Urza's Essence. If we ever get to a point where we can somehow get the embodiment of Urza back, I mean, that's just game changing. The understatement of the century there. That's one of the brothers of the Brothers' War. So
yeah,
if this nostalgia for Dominaria persists, maybe Wizards will see it in their kind hearts to somehow bring Urza back in the form of something other than just a head.
Well, you do know that they already have the next set made.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, you go ahead and fire some names at me, and I'll fire off some things at you.
Okay. All right. So, first one I wanted to talk about is a card from the Champions of Kamigawa block.
Mm-hmm.
It is Time of Need. What is Time of Need, Greg?
Time of Need is a 1 generic and green sorcery that allows you to search your library for a legendary creature card and put it into your hand.
Yep, you nailed it. And I actually ran this a couple months ago. I actually had a commander deck that was ran by Sliver Queen, and it was just It was a 5-color Legends deck. I swore up and down. I told everybody it's not a Slivers deck. It's not a Slivers deck, but it was a 5-color general that I could make tokens and play any of the Legends that I had in my deck. So that was definitely a lot of fun. And Time of Need was very useful in that deck.
Now, what price is that at?
Oh my gosh. Hang on a sec. I got to look it up because I'm bouncing back and forth here on my phone. But it looks like Time of Need right now will run you about $1.49. That's it.
That's a pretty good price.
$1.50. So
I mean, it's a great alternative to other cards like Captain Sisay.
Absolutely. And it's not like this can't be recurred if you're running anything like an Eternal Witness or Snapcaster. Granted, those aren't legendary, but it's a
what about Jace, Vryn's Prodigy?
Jace Vryn's Prodigy. There you go.
That's a legendary creature you could search up that can cast it from the graveyard.
Oh my gosh, look at you. We're coming hard with the brews in the Brewmaster's Corner on the Win Condition podcast. So, all right, so Time of Need, just $1.50. Go ahead and do yourself a favor and grab one, maybe two of these, depending on what kind of... If we see a legendary format, or sorry, if we see a legendary archetype start to spring up in, say, Modern, then I guarantee you this card is just going to explode. There's only one printing, Champions of Kamigawa. It's an uncommon. And
I mean, how can you not see Shauna Sisay's Legacy being a good card in Modern? I mean, it's a 2-drop star that has hexproof.
Yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's... I honestly could say that it is better than Voice of Resurgence.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be a lot easier to get. And when you need it, you could have two of them, 2 Time of Needs, and then you can search up your Liliana or your other Planeswalker in the deck or other things that you need. It just does a lot of what you want it to do.
Right. Well,
It can't search up the Planeswalker.
Yeah. Time of Need just does the creatures, but still extremely powerful. And foils, if you're really into that foil stuff, it's only about $10, which honestly is not that bad if this card is going to be as popular as we think it might be. So Time of Need, check it out. All right, Greg, hit me. This shouldn't be too hard to stump me, but go ahead.
I think the next one we're going to go off is Day of Destiny.
Day of Destiny. Okay. Oh.
Now that's from Betrayers of Kamigawa.
Right, Betrayers of Kamigawa. Okay, we actually talked about this one before the cast. It is a white enchantment that says all legendary creatures you control get +2/+2.
I'm not sure if it's a U control. It might be all.
That part I wasn't entirely sure about. Now I want to go and look it up.
I'm going to look it up.
All right, you go ahead and you look it up while I kind of talk about it. Well, it's a card. It's an enchantment. It gives legends +2/+2.
It's a simple anthem.
It's a simple anthem. Okay, so it just does your creatures, correct?
All right, so Day of Destiny does only do legendary creatures you control.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah.
Got it. What's the casting cost? That I did not know. And I know it's white.
It is 3 generic and a white. So it's a double of what you would use. It's one more than most anthems.
So that's something that you could potentially search up. I don't know. That three casting cost makes it a very, very interesting target.
4 casting cost.
Oh, it's 4. Okay, never mind.
But you know what card can get this?
What's that?
Thalia's Lancers.
Oh my gosh, you're right. You're right.
At a simple 3 generic double white, as a 4/4 first strike, it allows you to search up any legendary card.
Yep.
Like Urza's Ruinous Blast.
Oh yeah. And and Thalia's Lancers, especially with the introduction of the legendary Planeswalker change, their value has just shot through the roof. And while their value is sky high, their price tag, regular copies of this will run you just about 50 cents. So not too bad.
Yeah.
And foils somewhere around $2. So that's not bad at all. If you want to get some Thalia's Lancers, they're going to be more than useful for you. And it looks like it has a promotion, F&M promo as well. That's pretty cool.
It does?
It looks like it. There's
you sure you're not thinking of a Thalia's Lieutenant?
No, there's a Thalia's Lancers. Oh, it's a media promo foil. Sorry. So it has that little star shooting over on the side. Greg's like, what? I need them.
I mean, yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Who are we kidding? All right. So moving right along.
Oh, it was
I will now ask
a buy a box promo, maybe?
I will now ask you about... Let's see here. Okay, I got one for you. Yomiji, who bars the way. Go.
Oh, man. This card is a spirit out of the Champions block, Saviors block. And
what's the Ninja Star one?
Betrayers.
It's Betrayers.
It's Betrayers. And what this says is whenever a legendary permanent would go to your graveyard, instead put it to your hand. And he's a 3/3 flyer, I want to say for 7 in white.
It is a 4/4 for 5 white.
Oh, geez. It's a Sarah's Angel?
Yep. Doesn't fly, though. Doesn't have vigilance. But it does so much other than that.
Yeah. I mean, ultimating a Planeswalker and not losing it seems pretty good.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing that this will not get back are those legendary sorceries, but any legendary lands, enchantments, creatures, Planeswalkers, you name it. They're going to go.
What about tokens?
No. Sorry. Not tokens.
Darn.
But yeah, Yomiji, who bars the way, is commanding a whopping $2 price tag. Foils, however, are going to run you closer to about $18. So,
well, that's because there's only one foil version, and
this
that's
is true.
pack foil.
And there is only one printing of it ever. It's only ever been printed in Betrayers of Kamigawa. So Yomiji, who bars the way, lets you recur those legendary permanents. So $2. Go ahead and grab yourself one of those. All right, Greg, hit me.
We're going to go with Willow Satyr.
Willow Satyr. I have absolutely no idea. So I'm going to look it up. Now, holy cow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit wordsy. It's out of Legends.
Yeah, one printing out of Legends. Not entirely sure if it's reserved list material or not. It sure looks that way because it costs you about $65 for one of these.
Whoa,
but
TCG's got them at around 50.
Oh, 50? Oh, okay, never mind. I must be looking at a different price.
No, it depends. Some people have higher prices. This is why I like to go off TCG compared to like Channel or Star City.
Right. Okay. So anyway, Willow Satyr for 2 green, you get a 1/1. Definitely does not pass the vanilla test, but you can tap it, gain control of target legend. If Willow Satyr becomes untapped, you lose control of this legend. And we're reading the original text here. And then you may choose not to untap it. And then when you lose control of Willow Satyr, then you lose control of that legend as well. So
yeah,
basically steal someone's legend. Pretty sweet card. 4 mana 1/1. Take your thing. I like it. All right.
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good. Okay, so Greg, talk to me about Iwamori of the Open Fist.
So Iwamori of the Open Fist just got a reprint down to an uncommon in Masters 25.
Really?
Yes. And he is a 4/4 for 4 with Trample. He's 2 generic green legendary creature monk. And what he says, when he enters the battlefield, each of your opponents may put a legendary card from their hand into play.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think it says permanent.
Each opponent
Maybe creature.
may put a legendary creature card from his or her hand onto the battlefield.
Not too busted. No planeswalkers there. Reminds me of Tempting Worm.
Yes, exactly. So, of course, my mind goes to how can we abuse this card? If there's any way to create token copies for your opponents, or you just want to do some sort of a group hug deck.
You know it's a fun card to use this with is in Bant, Fractured Identity.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Fractured Identity, of course. One of our fun new cards from the latest Commander set. Well, why don't you tell us what Fractured Identity does?
Fractured Identity allows you to exile target permanent, and then each opponent gets a copy of that permanent.
Right.
I just got Leveler locked to this the other day.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Guy cast Leveler, exiled his deck, and then cast Fractured Identity. Nobody has a counter spell. We all lost our decks and died.
God, that is brilliant. Now, I've told you about my Leveler deck that I made before, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Summoner's Egg. And yeah, okay. All right. Anytime I hear the word Leveler, I just get tingles. So that's awesome. That's really awesome. And of course, I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast before, but Fractured Identity, cast on your own Phage the Untouchable, pretty much wins you the game.
Sure does.
That's pretty evil. So for those of you out there who are into that kind of stuff, cast Phage the Untouchable from your hand preferably, and then play Fractured Identity. So
yeah.
All right. So were there any other ones you wanted to talk about? Oh. Greg, I'm sorry. I just went. Do you have another one you want to go to, or should I?
Oh, no. Go right on ahead. You've got one on the tip of your tongue.
Okay. Arena of the Ancients.
Oh, man. So this is an old card. Got reprinted in Antiquities, also printed in Legends. 3 generic artifact. I don't believe it's a legend, but it says, when it enters the battlefield, tap all legendary creatures, and legendary creatures don't untap.
Yes. So if you're playing against some people who you know are running a lot of legends, you can just shut them down for the low cost of 69 cents. roughly 50 cents for this card out of Chronicles. Now, if you want to pony up and pay for the Legends copy, you're going to cost yourself about 30 bucks. But thanks to Chronicles, yes, thanks to Chronicles, you can get this card for very, very cheap and is very effective. Even in Commander, it's very effective. But
Yeah.
Playing some casual games with all these legendary creatures, Arena of the Ancients is a great way to shut down all legendary creatures.
It is. It really is. It's a great card.
You can shut down
Does
that
so
Gideon
much.
after he turns into a creature.
Yep.
You ever-
And equips the sword of the Blackblade Reforged while there's a Day of Destiny out.
Yep. You ever had a Planeswalker that couldn't untap during its controller's untap step?
Yes. Cameo is a thing. You know that, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right. Okay. So anyway, we had I think we had two more on here that we wanted to talk about. So
Oh man, I don't remember what the other two were.
all right. Well, then I get to ask you what Loyal Retainers does.
Ooh, now this is a real fun card out of Portal 3 Kingdoms. 2 generic white, human,
Advisor.
I think it's a monk. Huh?
No, it's an advisor.
Oh, it's an advisor. Man, I forgot about that creature type. And it says when a legendary creature would go to your graveyard, I don't think it says anything about from the battlefield. You can sacrifice Loyal Retainers, put it into your graveyard, and then put that legendary creature into play.
Right. And it also, one other thing, it must be activated before attackers are declared. Only
Right.
during your
So,
turn. Yeah.
do you know what the combo was with this card in Legacy for a time?
No.
You would discard Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, to an effect, sacrifice Loyal Retainers, and get Emrakul into play before its shuffle ability would go into effect.
That's interesting. Wow. Okay. And you know,
Yeah.
there was an invocation of this as well.
Yeah, there was.
But the most expensive copy is actually the original from Portal 3 Kingdoms.
Oh, yeah.
Running you roughly 35 bucks.
Wow.
The invocation will cost you about, I don't know, 25 bucks. And then the
Wow, this card's really dropped. I remember when it was like 300.
the Commander's Arsenal version, about 16 bucks.
What
So-
about the Judge? Isn't there a Judge version?
There is
I think
no
there was a Judge.
judge. I don't believe so.
I'm thinking of Imperial Recruiter.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
More of that Portal love.
I know, right? What's that last card?
Okay. Goryo's Vengeance.
This is another reanimation spell. And if I remember correctly, it allows you to return a legendary creature from your graveyard to play. It gains haste, and you have to sacrifice it at the end of turn.
Exile it.
And on top of all that, it also had Splice onto Arcane,
Yes, it does.
which allows you to cast it with your Kodama's Reach and not lose the card.
Yeah. Do it multiple times. And it is an instant for one and a black. And there's a deck around this in Modern.
With Grizzlebrand, I believe.
Exactly. I mean, who doesn't want to draw 7 cards, lose 7 life, only to swing in with a hasty Grizzlebrand and gain that life back? That just seems like value right there.
It really does. I've got a card for you.
Well, before we move on, let's just tell everybody that this card is not exactly cheap. The only printing is from Betrayers of Kamigawa, and it's running about 50 bucks. And the foils are actually running around 85 bucks. I thought it was going to be way higher than that, but
No, it's not a staple deck that demolishes everything, so
yeah. Okay.
all right, so this one we didn't talk about, and it is an older card. It is Sabo Savek.
Oh my gosh. I have recently seen this card. I think when we had the hype over the legendary rule change, I ran into him, but I know Sabo's Web. Sabo Sabek. All right, you got me. What does he do?
It is a 7-drop, and she has protection from legends, and she does a black and a red tap to destroy target legendary creature.
Oh my gosh. That's extremely powerful. Surely this card is, very expensive monetarily.
No.
Right? No?
No. Oh, I forgot. She also has first strike.
Oh yeah, very good.
Oh, and it's a double black tap.
Okay. Right.
And
She'll run you about
her
about,
price is about $1.
about $1.
Foils are around 20.
Whew. Yes, that is it's kind of pricey, but wow. Especially with, like I said, umpteen times in this new Dominaria world we're living in with all these legendary creatures, all of these cards that we're talking to you about, their power level is just going to go up and up and up.
I mean, there's that 9/3 for 5.
Oh, the frog spirit. Oh, God. Legendary frog
That
spirit.
thing is
Sorry.
huge.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Well, we have successfully once again gone pretty long here. We'd better wrap it up.
We should call it
cordial.
a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, let's let everybody know that this show is brought to you by Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com, where any order you make over $10, you can use that promo code WINCONDITION in all caps to save yourself 10% off your purchase, which will help contribute to future show giveaways. Greg, where can these fine people find you?
Of course, you can find me on our email, which is thewinconditionpodcast@gmail.com.
Boom.
And my Twitter handle of NoobSlasher2003.
Boom, boom. And you can find me at MTG_Sean. On Twitter, the show is at The Win Condition. Check out our Instagram, The Win Condition MTG. Check out our YouTube page. Yeah. All that being said, Greg, thanks again.
Always a pleasure.
And we will talk to y'all next week.
Guys, have a great evening and enjoy the rest of